Good morning, sweet people. Listen, today we are going to make a blackberry pie. It's going to be, well, it's a cobbler. It's a cobbler. We're going to make the dumplings out of some all-purpose white lily flour, the finest in the land, and we are going to make a blackberry cobbler. And you know, there was several weeks ago that somebody gave me some blackberries, and I showed them to y'all. And I said, and I showed you how to freeze them. And I told you to freeze them wash them off and freeze them in a block of water. In other words, I covered these with water and they are solid. It's a solid block of berries and water. And I'm going to use the water that is in here to help make my cobbler. And so what I did is this. I have taken a big boiler and I put a bunch of water in it because I like a lot of juice in my dumplings. I don't want a dry cobbler. A cobbler is not dry. It's not solid. You have to kind of eat it with a spoon because it's got a lot of good juice in it. So anyway, I'm going to show you how to make the dumplings and I'm going to show you how to make the cobbler. But remember this. When you make your dumplings, you can make any kind of cobbler. You can make a peach cobbler, apple cobbler, pear cobbler, just whatever kind of cobbler you want to make. But I'm making blackberry cobbler. These are some beautiful ones. So I'll be back in a minute and I'll show you what to do next. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some scissors and cut the bag open like this. And I'm going to take this bag over to the sink and run some water off of it just long enough to get the bag off. I don't want it thawing out or anything because I'm fixing to put it in this boiler over here. Well, I might not even have to take it to the sink. Let me see. Can y'all see okay? Let me get you back some so you can see the whole kit and caboodle. I freeze my butter beans, my peas, and everything in water because this helps it not to get freezer burned. And the water that you put in it, that's the water that, all right, there it is. There is your block of blackberries in water. All right, I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to turn it on. And I'm not going to put any sugar or any butter or anything like that in it right now. I'm just trying to thaw those out and let them cook just a minute, okay? I had to run back there to the bathroom and get this hair up. I can't do all this with hair hanging around. All right, so here's what you need to know. Now listen up, y'all. I've got 2 bowls. This one right here is my dumpling bowl. It always has plain flour in it. You know, the all-purpose white lily flour. This bowl right here is my biscuit bowl. And I always have self-rising flour in it. So, I have 2 separate bowls and they are covered with a cloth like this in my cabinet. And nothing gets in it, nothing bothers it. So, I'm not going to be using my biscuit bowl today, so I'm going to put it to the side. Like this. But I am going to get out my sifter, and we are going to sift our all-purpose flour. Now, the reason for all you new followers, and I've gotten a bunch lately, all-purpose means it doesn't have any leaven in it. It won't rise up. So you can't make your biscuits out of this unless you add a bunch of stuff to it. But you do make your dumplings out of it and your pie crust because you don't want them swelling up, do you? I don't. All right, so what I'm going to do, this is flour that was left in here from the last time I made dumplings. So I am going to sift it. And this is the kind of sifter that's supposed to go round and round, but I just do it this way. It's a lot easier for me, okay? I can't wait to eat this, y'all. I love blackberries. Let me tell you, when I was a little girl, my Aunt Hattie B, that was her name, Aunt Hattie B, she had a big she had a big cow pasture. And y'all might not realize it, but cows don't eat blackberry plants. So there'd be a blackberry plant here and one there. They were wild. They were all out in the cow pasture. But the cows would go around, goodness gracious, the cows would go around the blackberries and eat the grass around it. So it was like just walking so nice, like on fresh mowed ground in that pasture. And Mama would put us on long sleeve shirts and long pants and that kind of stuff, and we would go around in that blackberry bush, on the blackberry bushes, and we would get you're supposed to have a lot of flour in your flour bowl at all times, y'all, so I'm having to put some more. We would go around and pick those berries early in the morning, but it'd be hot. Well, Aunt Hattie B also had a creek down there at the bottom of her pasture. So when we got through picking blackberries, Mama just let us go down there to the creek. And we'd pull off all our clothes except our panties. And we'd jump in that creek and we'd have the best time. I remember that so much. And the water was cold. Ooh, it was cold. It'll freeze you good. All right, dumplings are really easy to make, y'all. They're just easy to make. And I'm gonna show you how. You do it just like you do a biscuit, in that you make a bird nest. I'm gonna take the back of my hand and I'm pressing down kind of hard right here. I want my bird nest not to be soft, but I want it really pressed, okay? Like that. I'm gonna take me, I'm not gonna make a bunch of them today, just a little bit. So I'm just gonna take one bird nest size of grease in it like that. And let me go get my buttermilk. I forgot to get that out. Wait a minute. I hadn't got but a little bit left of this one, so I used what I've got. That's all I've got in that one. We'll throw this little jug away. Somebody said the other day at the Cobble house, they said, that's it. I never used buttermilk before, and at first it started going bad on me. This one kind of looks watery. Let me shake it up. Let me make sure. Oh, no wonder it is. Oh no, it's the fat-free. I don't use fat-free. I must have picked up the wrong one. But yeah, but you can use it. It's not my favorite, but you can use it. Let me put a little bit more in there. You don't want to skimp on your buttermilk, okay? Don't skimp on your buttermilk. All right, so you take this hand. You don't use this hand unless you're left-handed. I'm going to squish it around in there and mix my stuff up like this. Anyway, they said they didn't use much buttermilk till they started watching me. And they said now they put it on their fried chicken and all their vegetables they're frying and all that stuff. Can y'all see down in there pretty good? All right, now, unlike biscuits, when you're making biscuits, you want to work fast. You do not want to knead your dough or anything like that because it makes your biscuits tough. Well, we're going to kind of work a little longer on our dumplings because we want them to kind of stiff, okay? Because we're going to have to roll them out. All right, it's about there. And look at this, y'all. I want you to see this. Some of y'all can't believe this, but the flour is dry, okay? You see that? There's no liquid in the flour. That's the reason you can put your little cloth over it when you get through, because the flour's dry. It isn't going to do anything. Now, don't cover it up with saran wrap or some kind of something like that, because you want your flour to breathe. So you got to use your cloth over it, okay? All right, that's about it right there. So now I'm going to take it out and I'm going to beat it to death. All right, let me take your other finger and clean your other fingers off like that. There we go. All right, I'm going to turn my berries down over here. They're beginning to get hot. All I want them to do is just get hot. Okay, so here's what you do next. You flour your surface. Like that. Take your dough ball out, and we are going to really work it good. I'm going to put some more flour on it. We want it stiff, stiff, stiff. Beat it, fold it over. Anytime it feels sticky, you're going to have to put some flour to it. And no, you don't need a measurement. You're going to feel this stuff. God gave you the sense of feeling, didn't he? He did. And sight and all that. So you want it stiff. You don't want it sticking to your surface. Just work it in. If you've got company coming, what you can do if you want to, you can make your dough up, this dumpling dough, ahead of time. Wrap it up, put it in the refrigerator. And then the next day, all you've got to do is just heat your peaches or your whatever you're making your cobbler out of. And you're going to be good. You can roll your dough out and then drop your dumplings in it and let them cook. I'm throwing flour everywhere. Well, the hurricanes moved on up. We didn't get any rain or anything from it. We needed rain from it, but we didn't get it. It's still dry here. It rained in town, in Andalusia City, but it did rain out here in the country where I am. And here's the thing, y'all. I don't know why it is that in the city where you got all that asphalt, it doesn't need rain because it's got the asphalt. And here we are out in the country needing the rain and we can't get it. And you're wondering why not? All right, see that right there made a huge pile of dough. I may not even need it all, but I will save it because I could make some fried pies or I can make some chicken and dumplings or whatever I want to make out of it. It's ready to roll. I bet some of you remember picking blackberries in a cow pasture, don't you? I think that's it sounds crazy, but I think that's one reason I like to smell cow pastures, is it brings back that memory of that picking blackberries in Aunt Hattie B's pasture. But I sure do remember it. We surely had a good time. I had a good mama. She did things with her children and for her children. All right, I think that's ready. I won't really know until I start rolling it out. When I roll it out, if it's sticking to this, I'll just pull it back in, add some more flour. That's all you do. I'm sticking my fingers in it to see if it feels kind of sticky. Put a little bit more on it. All right. All right, I'm gonna say that's a good little bit. So what I'm gonna do is divide it into 3 parts because it's so much. If I rolled it out in one part on this, it'd cover the whole chopping block. So I'm gonna divide it into 3 little parts right here. All right. So what we had to have is the White Lily all-purpose flour, some grease, and some buttermilk. Hopefully the whole buttermilk. I didn't have it, but you can do it with either one, fat-free or whole. It doesn't matter. And sometimes when you're desperate, you can make this with water. You can do everything just the same, except you're gonna put in water, and that works too. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm going to just let that sit there a minute, and I'm going to get my hands clean, and I'm going to get out my rolling pin, and we're fixing to start making the stuff, okay? Okay, y'all. Okay, are you ready? All right, so this is already melted. Look at that. It didn't take 5 minutes for that water to melt off of these berries. Let me show you the berries. In case y'all didn't see my other video that I did showing how to freeze these berries. Look at that, how big and beautiful they are. All right, so I've got my water, and I want to tell y'all now, you need a lot of water in here. See there how much I've got? Use what was in the sack, plus you got to have more. And here's the reason. When we put those dumplings into here, that dumpling is going to absorb a lot of that water. And you want juice in your cobbler. You want juice in your cobbler. So that's the reason. So here's what you do. You take you a stick of butter and you put it in there. Now I've got, right here, I've got 2 cups of sugar that I'm going to put in it. And a stick of butter. And that's all that goes in it other than your dumplings. But I'm not putting my sugar in right now. And here's the reason. For those of you who've made jelly or stuff like that, you know. You already know. We want our juice to be thin. We want it to be sweet, but we don't want it thick and syrupy. So, if you put your sugar in right now, it's going to boil in there and get thicker and thicker. And we don't want that. We want it thin. So, that's why I've just put my butter in like that. We're going to let it melt. And at the very last, before I put in my dumplings, I'm going to pour in this sugar and let it get melted and stuff. And then I'll be ready to put my dumplings in. And I'm going to go ahead and turn my oven on right now. Because once we pour it in our casserole dish, we're going to put a top over it, hopefully. And so I'm going to turn it here on 400. It might be a little high. I think we'll do 375. Let's do 375. And we're going to put our top on it. Everything in here will be done. And we're going to put a top on it and put it in the oven until the top gets done. And that's going to be our crust out of this same dough. You know, I divided it into 3 spots, so we'll have plenty. This is going to be a big old cobbler, Blackberry Cobbler. It'll be good. But I'm going to taste my broth in a little bit after I put my sugar in to see if I've got enough sugar and that kind of stuff, okay? I think I will have, but I'm just saying we might have to taste it. Okay, y'all, we're ready to roll out our dumpling. So I've got one of the balls. Here are the other 2. And I've got one. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll this out. Now, if it's sticking to this surface, I am going to add a little more flour, okay? I've got you sitting back a little bit today so you can see real good, okay? You want to roll this out as thin as paper. You do not want a big old thick dumpling. Now, some people like the thick dumplings. They like it. And you certainly can do that. But remember, you're going to have to cook it longer. I like them thin. I like them real, real thin. Put some muscle in it now when you're rolling it out. Don't just do like this. It's not like you got to push and push it in all directions. Just start at the center and pull it out. Now lift it up and make sure it's not sticking. It isn't. Okay, that's good. I'll put a little more flour on the bottom of it. And then we're going to keep rolling it out. You want it thin, thin, thin. Right. All right. These are going to be so good. See how it's even going off of my mat over here? That's why when you make your dumpling dough, you're going to have to divide it up. If you make a whole lot, you may have to divide it up in 4 parts okay? All right, let me see how thin that is. I'm gonna cut one and check it out. It looks like it's real thin. Can y'all see that? That looks real thin. All right, our berries over here are getting hot. They're not boiling yet, and I've got it turned up high so I can get it boiling. I hadn't had a blackberry pie in years because I hadn't had any blackberries. But I got them now. I think I got, I believe that day we did that together, I believe I had 4 bags. All right, let's try that. Let's see how thin that is. And when you put your crust on, you want it thin too. Okay? All right, let's just do one and see. All right, I'm going to bring it over here to you where you can see. All right, look how thin it is. See that? That's a dumpling. And this is the same dumplings. All right, our water's boiling. So, I'm going to turn it off because I don't want my juice to boil away. I'm going to turn it off till I get ready and get y'all set up so you can see. All right, so this is thin. So let me put it back down there. All right, so I'm going to put it all this way. Now, if you're making chicken and dumplings, you boil your chicken, a whole chicken, and then you take the chicken out completely, all of it, debone it, and don't put it back in yet. Then you make your dumplings. Then you put your chicken back in there. But you don't want to put all of that chicken back in there. It'd be too much chicken and not enough dumplings. I like a lot of dumplings and a little chicken, don't y'all? All right, so we've got this cut up now into this size. See that? Can y'all see? I got you sitting back so far from me, I don't even know if you can see it or not. Look at that. My children love raw dough. My grandchildren, if I'm in here making this, they're right in here eating my dumplings quicker than I can say Jack Robinson. All right, I'm going to move y'all now. Come on, can you go with me? Let's go over here. We're fixing to drop our dumplings in just a second. All right, let's turn on this light too so we can really see good. We've got our dumplings made. And here are our blackberries, and they've cooked a little bit. You want your juice to be kind of dark. So here's I'm gonna show you. That's what the color of the juice is. Now, if you're doing fresh peaches, you may have to boil yours a little bit longer because peaches are harder than this. If you're using canned peaches, pour the peach and the juice and everything into your broth. If you're using canned peaches to make your cobbler, okay? All right, so now I'm going to put in my sugar. I'm going to turn it back on high. We're going to melt this sugar, and I'm fixing to start dropping my dumplings in as soon as it comes to a boil. You have to drop your dumplings in at a rolling boil and keep it that way for a good little bit, okay? So here we go. I'll be going back and forth, okay? All right, I think that's melted. All right, I got to taste it now before I do anything else, because if it doesn't have enough sugar, blackberries are really tart, and so it may take more sugar than it does for a peach cobbler or something like that. It's just perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, here we go. Now, what we're waiting on now is for that to come to a rolling boil. As soon as it does, I'm fixing to start dropping those dumplings in it. Okay, and then you watch. We're going to have to get us out let's get out this. This will be pretty. This was given to me, and I've used it a bunch of times. A casserole dish. Isn't that pretty? Alright, so let me just sit it over here out of the way right now. Let's put this back up. Alright, it's beginning to bubble just a little bit, so just in a second it'll be at a rolling boil. And I'll start dropping in dumplings. And then I'm going to roll out that other thing of dumplings and put in, we'll have 2 for dumplings and 1 for the top. Alright, let's do it. Alright, so here's what you do. All you do is just pick your dumplings up and drop them in that boiling water, like that, as fast as possible. Y'all can't even see me over here dropping them, can you? You can't see, can you? Okay, it's all right. Here's what I do a lot of times. Where's my spatula? Here it is. Here it is. I'll show you what I do a lot of times. Is I do this. I put 5 or 6 on at a time. That way I don't have to dance too long in the kitchen trying to get these things in there. All right, we're doing good. We're coming along. All right, y'all, I hope this video isn't gonna be too long for you. Bless your heart. You ain't got time. Y'all got to go to work and do your thing, haven't you? I think this is going to be a plenty of dumplings, to tell you the truth. This looks like a lot, doesn't it? We don't want too many in there because it'll soak up all of our juice, and we won't have any juice in our cobbler. All right, we're going to let this cook about 10 minutes. Let's see. We need a few more dumplings. We need a few more. So y'all can just, I'll turn you around this way and you can watch over here till I can get just a few more. I think I'll divide this one in half. Let me get it rolled out real quickly. And then we'll drop this in, and I believe that'll be a plenty. But anyway, you leave it on high for a little bit. That's why you got to have a lot of juice in there. If you don't, it'll cook dry. You don't want that. It's better to have too much juice than not enough. Anybody that says they're making a cobbler and it's dry, that is not a cobbler. That is not a cobbler. All right. Where's my cutter? All right, we're going to put these in real quickly. And then we'll be done except for the top of it and putting it in the oven. And eating it, of course. Alright, let's put these in. Y'all can see how it's boiling right here. Gotta put them in quickly. You can't be messing around in the kitchen now. You gotta get it going. I don't want them to stick together. There we go. All right. Woo! I wish y'all were here to eat them with me. You would love a Blackberry Cobbler. Look at that, how good that looks. Get over here and get your little face down in it. Look at that. All those good berries. Now you can make a little one. You don't have to make one this big, y'all. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this cook. I'm going to turn it down to medium now. And so that all my juice doesn't go away. And I'm going to let it cook about 10 minutes. And my dumplings will be ready. And then we'll put the top on it and put it in the oven, okay? So I'll be right back. Okay, it's been 10 minutes. If you make your dumplings too thick, you're going to have to cook them longer than this. And they won't be very good either. So you want to cook them about 10 minutes if they're paper thin like mine. Because look, see how they're, let me show you something before we even stop this cooking. Let me pick one up if I can get it to get on my spoon. There we go. You see that it's a little thicker now? And that's because it is absorbing some of that juice. And that's why you got to have so much juice in there to start with, okay? Any cobbler needs a lot of juice. Heck, the juice is good to just drink. It is delicious. I had to change my pan. I'm gonna use this one. And the reason I'm going to use this one is because it's a little narrower. It's deeper and narrower, and I'm going to have to use this one. So I put the other one back up. I'll save it for a big casserole. All right, so now what you do is you pour this into here. Hot. I want you to look at that. It is perfect. All right, now we're going to put our top over it. And I rolled it out. Here it is over here. Okay, see how it's rolled out? And I am going to try to put it on there. Y'all can see the edge of my light, can't you? Okay, let's turn our light around this way, so that y'all can see the actual what we're doing over here. All right, you got it? All right, so let me move my stuff. And I'm going to put my casserole right here. It is so heavy. Whoa. Woo! All right, now here's our crust. So I'm going to try my best. See, you don't want it sticking, okay? I'm going to lay my crust on it best I can. I went too far that way, didn't I? That's all right. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. Don't panic. Don't panic. Pull it like that up to the top a little bit. I hate that that juice came out right there, but I can't help it. My dough broke. But that's just part of it, y'all. Don't get in a tear if something happens like this. It is okay. I like this crusty around the edges like that. So then take you some butter, some soft butter, which I've got some right here. It's in my butter dish. And I'm going to put a little bit of butter here and there on the part that doesn't have any. I might have to do it like that. You want to put you some butter on it. Like that. Maybe yours won't come up over the top like mine did, but it'll be all right. It will be okay. We'll still have some crusty on top. It'll be fine. We'll put some around the edge. Okay. And then what you do is you sprinkle just a little bit of sugar over on the crust. Just sprinkle just a little bit like this. Just a sprinkling, a powdering of sugar, but this is real sugar, it's not powdered sugar. All right, that's enough. All All right, now I'm going to open my oven, and I'm going to put it in there on 375 and let that top, everything else is done. So we, look at the hair. So we're just going to let the top get done, and then we'll be ready to get us a bite. Okay, y'all, I peeked in the oven, and it is ready. So let's get it out. I hope I don't spill it getting it out. But we're going to try. It is to the top, let me tell you. Oh my goodness. Woo. Let me show y'all. All right, it shouldn't have any juice on top, but mine does. That's because it overflowed, but it's gonna be delicious anyway. All right, let's get us some. I don't have any ice cream, but that I usually like to put some on top of mine. Got us a bowl out. Let's get us a spoon. And we're ready to eat some of this good pie. Turn y'all down where you can see it good. Here your crust, that's how it's supposed to be all over, but mine is not because I messed up, didn't I? See the good juice in it now? There's your dumpling and all that good juice. There's nothing better than the juice in it, I'm telling you. Another dumpling. And another dumpling. Okay, that's gonna be what I'm gonna eat right there. And then I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break this little part right here off and put it on top of mine. That good crust. Like that. Okay. Y'all want to take a bite with me? Let's have some of this good stuff right here. That's your blackberry cobbler. Now you can make a peach cobbler or a blueberry cobbler or an apple cobbler, honey, whatever you've got, whatever fruit that you have. But you don't have to do this. You could make you some chicken and dumplings or ham dumplings. It's hot, y'all. Oh, it's hot. That is so good. I don't even have to have a berry. There's a berry, but I don't have to have it because the other's so good. It's delicious. It's so good, y'all. Make you a cobbler. And remember, you can't have too much juice in it. Maybe if you're lucky, your top will be better than mine. But I can assure you all this will be eaten. I love y'all. Take care. Get you some white lily and get busy, y'all. Fall is here. It's in the air, and you need you some cobblers. Love you. Bye-bye.